Namaste and good evening. We start the class with the prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we'll chant Mahamrityunjaya mantra 3 times to pray for those who are in suffering. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhana Mrutyor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhana Mrutyor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhanan Mrutyor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome everyone. In the last couple of classes, we had started Ayodhya Kanda and we saw that how the preparations for Rama's coronations were going on, and everybody was very happy, everybody eagerly waiting for this wonderful occasion. And then under the influence of Manthara, Kaikeyi, the youngest queen, she asks 2 boons to the king. One is, instead of Rama being coronated, her son Bharata being coronated. And second boon was Rama going into exile for 14 years. When Rama goes into exile, along with Rama, Lakshmana and Sita also accompanies him. They will not stay back. When they leave, King Dasharatha, who has been miserable from the time he heard Kaikeyi's demands, he sends his charioteer and minister Sumantra to bring them back if possible, at least Sita. He says it will be some support for him to continue living. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for him to continue living. So Sumantra tries to convince Rama, Lakshmana, of course, they will not come. Sita also will not agree. So Sumantra could not bring anybody back. And Rama, Lakshmana and Sita, they are on their onwards journey in the forest. So they go to different holy places and ashramas. So we'll start from there. So here there is a beautiful comparison using a simile which poet Tulsidas ji has given. When 3, Rama, Sita and Lakshmana, all 3 are walking. So he's saying, Aage Ram Lakhan bane paache, tapas vesh virajat kaache, ubhay beech siya sohat kaise, Brahma Jiva bich Maya jaise, dekhat ban sar sail suhaye, Valmiki ashram prabhu aaye. So it is like Rama is walking in the front and Lakshmana is walking in the rear, Sita in the middle, like there is Maya between God and the individual soul, Jiva. So Rama is God, Lakshmana is individual Jiva, and Sita is the Maya, the Prakriti, the nature in between, which stops from individual soul jiva to see God, to realize God. So because Sita is in the middle, Lakshmana can't see Rama directly. That's why poet Tulsidas ji has given this simile. And then keeping going on in the same manner, they reached the ashram of Valmiki. Valmiki, as I have told you earlier, he was the original writer of Ramayana, and he was contemporary of Lord Rama. So he wrote the events which he was witness to. So here, Sage Valmiki, he prays to Lord Rama. And this is a very beautiful, with a lot of deep meaning, this prayer. I'll read a part of it to you. जगु पे खन तुम देखन हारे, विधि हरि शंभु न चावन हारे, देव न जानहि मरम तुम्हारा, और तुम्हि को जानन हारा, सोई जानई जहि देहु जनाई, जानत तुम्हि होई जाई, तुम्हारी कृपा तुम्हि रघुनंदन, जानहि भगत भगत उर चंदन. So he is saying that the whole world is like a spectacle, and you are its spectator. So you are just watching the whole drama going on. And he is saying that nobody really knows you. Even the gods Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, they also do not quite know you completely. Then who else can know you? Then he says the only one who can know you is the one who you want him or her to know you. So only through your grace, that whom you want, that person will know you. And the interesting thing here is he says, Janat tumhi hoi jai. The moment one knows you, he becomes you. He or she becomes you. It's like there is no separation after knowledge that I and God, two entities. No, he becomes you. And then Lord Rama asks that where should I go in the forest? What would be the good place for me to go to, so that I can settle there for some time and then spend some time there? So here he is saying, Valmiki, पूछे मोहि के रहो कहाँ, मैं पूछत सक चाऊं, जह न हो तह देहु कही, तुम्हि दिखावो ठाऊं. So you are asking me, where should I go? He is telling Lord Rama. But I have a little bit hesitation, in the sense that you please tell me a place where you already are not there. Then I may be able to show you the place where you should go. So Lord Rama just smiled, hearing the question of Valmiki. And then Valmiki continues. He gives a few places for Lord Rama to stay. And those are very beautiful places. So he is saying, he gives quite a few. I'm just telling you a couple of them. Sab kar maagahi ek phal, Ram charan rati ho, tinke man mandir basahu, siya raghunandan do. So those people who ask for all their activities, for all their auspicious, meritorious activities, they only ask for one fruit, that is the devotion to your feet. You stay in their heart, O Lord Rama, along with Mother Sita and Lakshmana. So that is one place where you can go, where you can stay. Then he is saying another one. काम कोह मद मान न मोहा, लोभ न क्षोभ न राग न द्रोहा, जिनके कपट दंभ नहीं माया, तिनके हृदय बसहु रघुराया. So he is saying that those who have no lust, anger, arrogance, pride, or infatuation, those who are without greed, attraction, or aversion, and who are free from any hypocrisy. It is in their heart that you should avoid. So like that, it's a very beautiful poem here, and poet gives like at least in the similar vein a dozen places or so. And then Lord Rama, when he hears all that, he smiles, and Valmiki understood that Lord Rama wants to give him the glory to specify the place for him. So then he tells that you go to Chitrakuta. So there is a small hill in India. It is in the almost the border of UP and MP. There are two states. So it is there. So he points out that place, that you go to that place. That place is really nice, and many people will be benefited by your presence there. And you can create your own small ashram or hut, and you can stay there for some time happily. So Lord Rama bows to Valmiki and says thank you, and then they start moving towards this hill called Chitrakuta. There, when Lord Rama arrives there, Lakshmana quickly creates two huts, one for Rama and Sita, one for himself, a smaller one. And he tries to create, there was also Guha, the tribal chief with them. So he also helps, and he also puts together everything so that their stay becomes as comfortable as possible. When all the sages and saints who were in that area of Chitrakuta, they came to know that Lord Rama has come, they all came to see him, and they bowed down to him. Lord Rama in turn bows down to them because they are all saints and sages. And then he satisfies them, asks them, how's your meditation going on? Do you have any difficulties in terms of food, in terms of protection? Please let me know if I could be of any service to you. And they saw this humility of Lord. They were so pleased within their heart. And then they, again bowing to him, they left for their own little small ashrams. After the saints and sages left, the tribal people, the local tribal people of that area, they came to see Lord Rama. They came to know Lord Rama. He's here. And they brought a lot of fruits, whatever were available in the local forest. They brought water. They brought some roots and vegetables. And they were so happy to see Lord Rama. And Lord Rama again met them with equal affection as he would meet his devotees. So there is a very famous verse here from Manas. Rama hi keval prem pyara, jaan leu jo jaan nihara. Love alone attracts Sri Rama. Let those who know of this fact, let them know. Let them take note of it. That he is not impressed by great scriptural knowledge. He is certainly not impressed by your status in the society. He is not impressed by how powerful a person is. He is only impressed by the love in your heart for the Lord. So in this manner, they have now the little ashram, Rama, Lakshmana and Sita. Lakshmana is very happy to attend on Lord Rama. And Lord Rama now sends tribal chief Guha back and he goes very unwillingly. And when he is so much in tears to separate from Lord Rama says, look, you know this place, I am here for some time. Whenever you want, you can come back, but don't stay here continuously because you have certain other duties to take care of. So he went to his own tribal village. And here Ram, Lakshmana and Sita, they are staying together very happily. Sita, when she is in the company of Rama, she forgets all her relatives, all the comforts of the palace. For her, that is the heaven where her Lord is. And when Lakshmana, he is happy serving Rama and Sita, and he has not even in the dream, poet says, not even in the dream the thought of parents or the house or palace or anything comes to his mind. They are living so happily. Lord Rama sometimes tells them the stories. Sometimes he tells about, he is wondering about his father and he becomes a little sad. He is also talking about Bharata and him wondering that how is Bharata doing in his absence. And when he is talking of Bharata, tears come to his eyes. And when Lakshmana and Sita, they also feel a little bit sad. Lord Rama changes the topic and he talks again about the stories and other things. But in this manner, they are living quite happily. So this is one part of the story. Now, poet says that now I'll tell you how Sumantra returns back to Ayodhya. The Sumantra, the charioteer and the minister of Dashratha, whom Dashratha had sent, that bring Rama, Lakshmana and Sita back, just spend like a few days in the forest, take the chariot, and then bring them back. At least if Rama and Lakshmana will not come, then let Sita come. Sumantra, so to speak, fails in his mission. He is not able to convince anybody. And he is coming with such a heavy heart. Tears in his eyes. He is crying. When he is trying to steer the chariot back to Ayodhya, even the horses are not willing to turn around. There are tears in the eyes of the horses. When Guha comes back and he sees this condition of Sumantra, Sumantra is like almost fainted. He's just not able to go. He's just not able to move from that place. One, the sorrow in his heart on account of separation from Lord Rama. Second, what will he say to Dashratha when he goes back? How will he face the people when they come to know that Sumantra could not bring Rama, Lakshmana and Sita back? So that scenario was too difficult for him to imagine and face. So he was just almost became immobile. He was not able to go. He was getting fainted again and again. When Guha saw this condition, he accompanied some of his tribesmen with him and told him that please help Sumantra go back to the Ayodhya, the palace. Eventually, Sumantra is able to come back. Everybody who sees Sumantra, they come with a lot of expectation. Maybe Rama has come back. And when they see the chariot empty, they feel very sad. Slowly, Sumantra realizes that this condition. So he stays a little outside of the city till the evening. And only he goes later on to the city and goes to the palace of King Dashratha. Now King Dashratha, he was in Kaikeyi's palace when all these things happened. He got so upset with Kaikeyi, so angry on Kaikeyi that he tells her that I do not want to see your face till I am living. Till my last breath, I do not want to see your face, let alone talk to you. So never come into my presence. And he goes to Kaushalya's palace. Kaushalya is very, very sad. Dashrath, both are very sad. And Kaushalya is even double sad, that in the sense that now she is trying to even tell Dashrath, it's all because of you this thing has happened. Because of your attachment, because of your infatuation with Kaikeyi. And Dashratha starts crying and says, look, I'm in so much pain, so much sorrow. At least you should try to understand my condition and not try to taunt me in this manner. Of course, mistake is mine. But still, I do not want these kind of words from you. And Kaushalya realizes her mistake and she consoles Dashratha. When Dashratha hears that Sumantra has come, he tries to get up. He is almost like has given up the food, not able to sleep, just faints from time to time. That's how all these days when Sumantra has been away, Dashratha has been living in this manner. When Sumantra comes and Dashratha sees that none of them have come, Rama and Lakshmana have not come, Sita also hasn't come. Sumantra tells all the incidents which happened. How did Lord Rama spend the first night in the forest? How he slept on the ground. How Sita also slept on the ground. Lakshmana kept watch. And they finally refused to come back to Ayodhya with Sumantra. As he is telling, Dashratha is feeling more and more sorrowful. And eventually, the absence of Rama is too much for him to take. And then this verse here, Ram Ram kahi Ram kahi, Ram Ram kahi Ram, Tanu pari hari raghubar birahan, Rao gayau surudham. Suchhava, Jiyat Ram vidhu badanu nihara, Ram birah kar maranu samhara. Crying Rama, Rama and Rama again and again, Dashratha gives up his body. He dies. In the agony of separation from Lord Rama, Dashratha cannot take any more. And he dies. And poet is saying here that indeed it was Dashratha who lived and died in this manner, that both his life and death became holy. He lived as father of Lord Rama. He kept seeing Lord Rama. He had tremendous affection of Rama when he was living. And he gave up the body in the separation from Lord Rama, thinking of him, taking his name. Now when king dies, all of a sudden there is a huge hue and cry. Ayodhya is without king. All the queens have become widows. And it was considered in those times, widowhood is a big curse on the life of a woman. Kaikeyi did not feel so sorrowful. Of course, it was all her doing in the first place. Secretly, she is even happy that Bharata, instead of being crowned the king in the waiting, now he can be directly crowned as king. But Kaushalya and Sumitra both are extremely sad. Rama, Lakshmana are not there in the Ayodhya. Sita is not there. Dashratha is gone. So now Guru preceptor Vasishtha, he takes the responsibility to manage the affairs till the time Bharata is coronated, a new king, Ayodhya gets a new king. So first thing is, so far, Bharata has not been in Ayodhya. Bharata was in his maternal uncle's place. So King Vasishtha orders some of the fastest horsemen that to go immediately and inform Bharata that he should come back. Both of the brothers, Bharata and Shatrughna, they should come back immediately. Do not tell him the reason for it. Just tell him that both of them should return immediately to Ayodhya. So messengers on the fastest of the horses available at that time, they went without rest and they reached as quickly as possible to Bharata's place. Bharata in the meantime, for last few days, he was seeing lot of bad dreams, painful dreams. He was hoping that everything is okay with my father, with my brother. He was praying to Lord, but somehow his heart was not getting satisfaction. And now when he sees this message from Vasishtha that come back immediately, reach Ayodhya immediately, he could not wait anymore, of course. He immediately started again on the fastest possible horses available at that time. So Bharata, because he is coming with a lot of things, there were some chariots also with him, which could not go that fast. So they kept coming later. Bharata himself, Bharata and Shatrughna, they went the fastest chariot with the fastest horses. And when he reached Ayodhya, he finds Ayodhya completely devastated, as if it's not a living city, as if everybody is dead there. He is very surprised what has happened. Ayodhya, whose prosperity was uncomparable to any kingdom in the world. People would say that Ayodhya's prosperity is the subject of envy even for heaven, gods of the heaven. He is so surprised to look Ayodhya in this condition, the city. And he is entering the city, and by chance some citizen comes in his way. That citizen from a very distance just bows to him and then moves aside without coming to him, without talking to him, without any cheer on his face. And Bharata is so surprised. It would never happen normally when somebody sees him. So slowly he reaches Ayodhya, his mother's palace. Kay is very happy to hear that her son has come. And she, as was the custom at that time, she takes a welcome plate for puja with the deepam, and just like we do worship, there is a tradition in India, a distinguished person or even your family member sometimes coming after a long time, it's considered an auspicious to perform some small ritualistic worship. So she comes, and then Bharata enters, and Bharata sees Kaikeyi. So widows would dress in a different manner than the ones, the wives whose husbands are alive. So when Bharata sees Kaikeyi in that condition, he is surprised. He said, "What happened?" And then she says, "Well, nobody can control the fate. It was supposed to happen. It happened. But don't you worry, I have taken care of everything for you. Mantra helped me. So nothing to worry about." And Bharata is in tremendous pain hearing Dashratha is no more. and he starts crying like a baby. And Keke tries to console him. Look, whatever has happened has happened. King lived a good life. He did a lot of righteous things, and he left his body in his old age. So there is not really much to think, have much sorrow for king. He lived a good life. So you try to get consoled. So that's how she was trying to console. And then he asks, what happened? I do not see Rama, my brother, and Lakshmana, mother Sita. And then Keke tells the whole story, that how with the help of Manthara, she has secured the kingdom for Bharata, and she asked for 14 years of exile for Rama, and that partly was the reason, not being able to tolerate the separation from Rama, Dasharatha left his body. When Bharata hears that Rama has gone to forest, he just stunned. He is not able to think or move from his place. And he forgot, like, his father is dead. Like, the news of his father's death was nothing for him compared to the shock he had for Rama's exile. And particularly, he could not believe that he himself has been made the cause for these events. After some time, when he comes to his senses, he is extremely, extremely angry with Keke. And he says that, who could be as unfortunate as I am? Why did you even have to have a child? Why did you not remain childless? And if you had me as your child, why didn't you kill me the moment you gave me birth? At least I didn't have to face this kind of situation. And then he really, really scolds Keke very heavily, just because she is the mother and Rama will not approve of any kind of punishment to Keke. He just gets away from the presence of Keke and goes to Kaushalya's palace. Kaushalya is in very, very deep grief, and when Bharata arrives there, she tries to get up and then falls down again. Bharata quickly comes forward, gives support to Kaushalya. Both start crying, both try to support each other. And Bharata again and again swears in front of Kaushalya that, look, I know nothing about all these things. I am not involved. It all happened in my name by my mother, but there is nothing that I was any party to it. I did not even know about it. And he tries to tell again and again that if I had even a iota of involvement in this, let me attain the worst of the hells. And Kaushalya says, Bharata, who does not know you? Who does not know your love for Rama? So I certainly have no such misgivings about you that you had planned it or you had wanted to become the king. So please do not feel guilty on that account. I know your love for Rama and Rama's love for you. After this, he goes to Vasishtha, his guru preceptor. Vasishtha says, look, Bharat, whatever has happened is happened. Now is the time to keep patience and start doing whatever needs to be done. So first priority is that you do the... So when Dashratha died, because Bharata was not there in the kingdom, Vasishtha had put his body in the big pot of oil. That was the way to preserve the body at that time, the dead body, so that till Bharata comes, the last rites, they should be done by his son. Because both Rama and Lakshmana are not there, Bharata had to do the last rites. And for that time period, till Bharata comes back, Vasishtha had preserved Dashratha's body by using some oil and herbs. So he says that first priority is that you do the last rites of the king. And once all that is done, with a heavy heart, Bharata, Shatrughna, and all other people, they do that. And then they all assemble together. So Bharata, all the ministers of the king, and Vasishtha, and also there were mothers, Kaushalya was also there. All these people are now together. They are planning that what is the right thing to do for us now. Rama and Lakshmana are not there in the kingdom. They have been sent to exile. Dashratha is no more. King had promised that Bharata would be the king. Bharata should be coronated. And it was honoring the words of the king that he had given the boon to Kaikeyi. Rama had left for forest. So he tries to console Bharata, because Bharata is in no way willing to even listen to all these things. So there is a very famous verse here from Manas. Sunahu Bharat bhavi prabal bilakhi kahyo muninath hani labhu jivan maran jasu apu jasu vidhyat. That listen, Bharata, fate or the prarabdha is formidable. It is being said by Vasishtha, who is the greatest among the sages. And he is saying that loss and gain, life and death, glory and infamy, all these lie in the hands of the providence. All these things in the life, they are controlled by prarabdha, our karma, the past karma. So all this happened. When you consider all this, then whom should we be angry upon? Whom should we find fault with? Whom should we blame? So understand this thing and then get ready to do your duty. First of all, you must understand that your father was a great man. He was not an ordinary person. Not only as a king, but as a devotee, he had the 4 sons like yourself, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna. Certainly he is not worth grieving for. So take some, I mean, become a little bit stable, come out of this grief mode. Certainly your father is not worth grieving for. Now it was his words that you should be coronated, and also that Rama be exiled to forest. Lord Rama, as the Lord of Dharma he is, out of devotion for truth, out of devotion for his father's command, he very happily and cheerfully accepted exile instead of the kingdom. So you should also follow Dashratha's command, your father's command, and accept the kingdom, because that is the right thing to do. Even your other mothers are also saying, and Ayodhya needs a king. Ayodhya cannot remain without a king. So whether you look at from the perspective of dharma, whether you look at from the perspective of following the advice of the father, or just the simple political sense that our kingdom cannot remain without king, you considering from all those angles, you should accept the kingdom. So in this manner, Vasishtha tries to reason with Bharata and tells him that this is your duty, this is the right thing to do. You will not have, nobody will blame you for that. So you should do this. Now Bharata's devotion to Rama is unparalleled. In fact, again and again, when Rama has to give the example of devotion, he always gives the example of Bharat. So when Bharata heard all this, and his own guru is saying his father's command is there, he says, look, it is not proper for me to open my mouth in front of you, but I'm in so much pain, and I'm at my wits' ends. I do not know what is right, what is wrong. And if I say something, please forgive me, because somebody who is in pain doesn't have the consideration for speaking the proper words. So whatever you have told me, whatever you have asked me to follow, I'm sure that you have thought about it, and you have thought my own good in that, and therefore you are telling me, and I understand it is for my good that you are telling me all these things, that I should accept the kingdom, I should become the king. Vasishtha says, at least till Rama comes back, you can accept the kingdom. And then if you feel that time, then maybe you can offer to Rama the kingdom. So Bharata says, all these things I understand that what you are saying, but I have no satisfaction in my heart. So please understand, please listen to my few words, my request also. I understand only one thing, that my only good is in serving Rama. There is no other good for me in the world. To serve the feet of Lord Rama is the only thing which is good for me. And unfortunately, my mother, she took away that opportunity from me. So at this point of time, the only thing which I see worth doing is that I should immediately leave where Lord Rama is and fall down at his feet and ask him to come back to Ayodhya and accept the kingdom. That is the only possible course of action I can think of for me. When everybody heard that, they were so amazed to see Bharata's devotion. One who does not consider a kingdom anything compared to serving Lord Rama. The kingdom which he got by the word of his father, not by any mistake on his part or any politics on his part. But he doesn't even want to think of that. All he is thinking of Lord Rama. So when he says that, everybody praises him and everybody likes this idea, because everybody is still in agony of separation from Lord Rama. So all the citizens, all the court members, all the ministers, they became extremely happy hearing this proposal of Bharata. And Bharata's proposal was this, that we'll take the whole army, we'll take all the things which Guru Vasishtha had done for the coronation of Lord Rama. He had all the material, all the things were arranged already. So, because they were arranged for Lord Rama's coronation, and Ayodhya does not have a king, so the moment I see Lord Rama, he should be coronated right there, and then he should come back as king of Ayodhya. That was in Bharata's heart. So he took, because the army should be there with the coronation at the time of coronation of the king, so he took the army, he took all the material, he took all the ministers, his guru went, his mothers went, and then because everybody, all these people are going, all the ordinary citizens, they also went with him. They also wanted to go with him. They were so much eager to see Lord Rama that they said, look, we don't care what happens to the property or anything in our absence. Whatever happens, we don't care. For us, Lord Rama is the main thing. When Bharata heard these kind of sentiments from the people, he pondered, I'm a servant of Lord Rama. All the property is his property. I cannot just leave the things that whatever happens to his property and I'll just go to see him. That is not the duty of a servant to the master. So he assigned some very trusted people to make sure that city is safe, kingdom is safe, property is safe, because for him everything belonged to Lord Rama. So he cannot take it casually or carelessly. He is also saying, look, about me, the people will say bad things about me, or I will not have the after the death, I will not go to heaven, I will go to hell. That is not my concern. I have this great pain in my heart that it is because of me, Rama and Sita, they are in sorrow, they are in pain, have to sleep in the ground, they have to sleep in the forest. So then it was decided next morning the whole party would leave for forest to meet Ram. So everything was arranged. They left, and first stop. Earlier, when Rama, Lakshmana, and Sita they are going, they were only 3 people. Now, when Bharata is going, this is like the whole city almost, and the army, and the whole court of king. So it was a huge party going on. So army has to make the arrangement, make sure that there is a place for staying, there is a place for taking care of other things. So they reached this place, Shringverpur. If you remember, Shringverpur was the place where the tribal chief Guha, he had received Lord Rama in the first place. So they reached to that place, the same place where Rama had reached. Now when Guha saw all this army with Bharata, and Bharata is going to see Rama, he got a little doubt. He wasn't sure what does Bharata want. Does he want to kill Rama, like taking the army and fight him out, and so that he wants to make sure that there is no possible competition from anybody else for his kingdom, because Rama is in forest, he is alone, he does not have any army, doesn't have any supporters. So is that what Bharata is thinking, to go to forest? So he got this thought, and thought created other thoughts, and he got really warmed up because he was such a devotee of Lord Rama. He decided that we will not allow Bharata to cross this place, his army. We will fight him. I have like a few people and they are not very well equipped, but we will rather all sacrifice our lives and try to stop Bharata from reaching to Rama, rather than allow him just like that. So he ordered all his tribesmen, all his that, look, this is a river, they would need the boats. So you all take your boats off. Let them not get any of the boats. They will not be able to cross, the whole army will not be able to cross the river like that. So at least let us put this as the obstacle, and then start collecting whatever weapons you get hold of. And let us, in the name of Rama, let us try, just sacrifice our lives and just fight it out. And everybody got really worked up. One of the old men in the party, he said, look, don't take any decision in the haste. First try to find out what is in Bharata's mind. Is he going with some negative intention like that? Before you get into this kind of all the war mode. So Guha thought about it and he thought that is true. I do not know Bharata's intention truly. So he take like 3 or 4 his trusted people with him. And because Bharata is a king of the Ayodhya, he is coming. So it is the duty of Guha, when the king of Ayodhya is coming, to receive him with the gifts. That was the normal thing. Like whenever if Dasharatha would come or Rama, irrespective of his feelings, that becomes his duty because he was under their protection, under the protection of Ayodhya. So he decided that, look, he told his warriors to keep ready. He told his boatmen that to keep ready, make sure that they will not get any boats. I'll go there, find out what is in Bharata's heart, and if I find anything amiss, then I'll all indicate you, otherwise I'll indicate you, otherwise you will know my signal, whether it is positive or negative, and accordingly you take the action. Just be on the ready. So they all were good. They all said, okay, fine, we all will be ready. So Guha goes there with some gifts. And he first sees Vasishtha, the guru. So he bows down to Vasishtha from a distance. At that time, there were some caste considerations, whereby Guha, belonging to a lower caste, he will bow from a distance. He will not touch the person like Vasishtha or Bharata. He was considered of such a low caste that he should not be touching them. So then he bows down, and Vasishtha, when he sees Guha, he feels very happy, and he tells Bharata, you see, Guha is here. He is like friend of Rama. Lord Rama considers him as friend. When Bharata heard that, and Guha is actually trying to bow down to Bharata next after Vasishtha. Bharata does not let him bow down to him. He just holds him in his arms, thinking that he is the friend of my Lord. He is friend of Lord Rama. So Bharata gives him so much respect, so much love. It does not take any time for Guha to figure out what is Bharata's intention. And then he tells all his people, try to serve Bharata as much as possible. Let us help them. And then, because Guha knows exactly where Lord Rama is, so he offers his services to Bharata to take him to Lord Rama. And Bharata is so happy to hear that proposal. And here the poet is saying a little bit about the greatness of the name of Rama. So just the name of Rama makes somebody great, but this person, Guha, he has been accepted as friend by Rama. So there is no wonder that he is treated with such respect. from Bharata and all other people. So with this, we conclude our today's class. And if there are any questions or comments, please feel free to write in the chat window. Okay, so if there are nothing, then we'll conclude our class with the prayers. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all.